let's just say I would recommend Mistborn to my in-laws, but I would not recommend Dungeon Crawler Carl to my in-laws. Actually,
Fair enough.
What are you nerding out about now?
Ooh.
Now I've put mine in here, but I don't see one from you, and we haven't discussed it.
Oh.
So, what are you nerding out about?
Well, obviously Meshtastic, but I've been actually nerding out quite a bit on some new books.
Oh,
Well, I really enjoyed Bob Magoo's books,
okay.
and I'm getting ready to start a book series near and dear to your heart, the Dungeon
Oh,
Crawler. Carl,
yeah.
man, he came up with a name for that. To say it out loud, I mean, reading it's no big deal, but Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah, a lot of people just call it DCC.
DCC. All right. Anyway, so yeah, I was doing one that's called Slim. What was it called? Slim Man? No.
Slender Man.
No. It was. It's a series. It's actually a series of books that Bob Magoo actually recommends as a companion to his book series, and it's called Sandman Slim, and it's kind of a dark, um, not for the kids at all. And my friend, who I told you about, who I recommended the DCC stuff,
Yeah.
he said, when I gave him one of Bob's books, he said, "Hey, you might check this out." And I've been really kind of enjoying it. It's kind of oriented of a this guy, and it's the world of magic, and his friends of magic actually end up, who he thinks are his friends, send him to hell. So he's like the first living being in hell. So he's a bit of a novelty, but he spends time.
Okay.
He ends up gaining abilities and skills, and he comes back to the real world to get revenge. And
Sounds a little bit like Spawn.
kind of, it is. It has some parallels to Spawn. When you say that. By the way, that's a good movie. By the way, another cult classic. Just
Yep.
saying. Okay. And and he kind of goes on. So you kind of get this whole. He doesn't want to be redeemed. He doesn't want redemption, but he just can't help but be, redeemed. Excuse me, in his actions, but he doesn't really want to acknowledge it.
A
And
reluctant redemption.
it is absolutely. And he just kind of goes to this whole thing, and you know, he's way more nice guy than he wants to be, based on of what's happened to him. But it's a pretty good series. It not quite as funny as Bob's stuff. Have you read any of Bob's stuff?
I've only read not any of his fictional stuff. I've got next to me his book on being a creative.
Oh yeah,
And so, but he laces that with tidbits
yeah,
of humor and whatnot. And so I get a feel um, for his
yeah.
writing humor, because that can be very different from in-person humor, what the written humor. But yeah, no, yeah.
So I can see why he would say that book series is a good companion to his book series. But no, I'm very excited to start reading the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, and I feel like I'm getting back into reading. I just, you know, I kind of feel like I got out of it. I really
Yep.
enjoyed reading. It was my TV of the mind for years, and I, I coworker, we were talking about books and TV, and how reading, like for example, Lord of the Rings. When I read the Lord of the Rings, well, at first I watched it and said, I gotta read these, and I read them, and then saw the next one and like, no, they're missing things, the typical stuff
Yep.
people go through. But in my mind, I was envisioning things, but it was kind of nice. Also, the movies kind of help provide some context there too. But it was always a good thing to have that imagination and this mental image of this world. Um, and I've always enjoyed that.
Yeah, I struggle to find time to sit down and actually read. And so I've been lately gravitating a lot more towards audiobooks.
Yes.
And I've been using the Libby app a lot. And for those that are unfamiliar, I've talked about it on the podcast before, but the Libby app, you can synchronize it with your library card, and you can check out, well, books or audiobooks on your phone through the Libby app, use it with the connection to your library. And I haven't done it yet, but you can also, there's certain larger libraries where even if you don't live in the state, you can still pay to get a library card from them, and then you can sync that with the Libby app, and presumably they would have a much larger selection as well. The trouble though comes in with there's quite a few authors who have an exclusivity deal with Amazon, and so their audiobooks, especially, you can't get through the Libby app because Audible has that locked down. And so Dungeon Crawler Carl is one of them that he has an exclusivity deal, as far as I know, with Amazon. So all of his stuff is available on Audible and whatnot. And
Right.
actually, if you're a Kindle person, his books are on Kindle and they're relatively
Oh.
cheap, a few bucks a piece, I think, to get the books on Kindle.
Well, when I was coming back from Dragon Con driving, I have Spotify, and I went ahead and was like, You have talked about audiobooks. I'm like, I need something different. And so I started, and speaking of Brian Sanderson, he has,
Brandon Sanderson.
Brandon Sanderson. I said Brian. Brandon Sanderson. He has a series called Mistborn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I started that. I actually listened to the first one and on audiobook, and I really enjoyed that. That was really good. And so, yeah, I kind of got a taste for his kind of how he goes along. A little bit. That's a little bit more dry, I think it sounds like, than Dungeon Crawler Card DCC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's still very well, I will say, written. I mean, I listened to it. He did a good job with it.
Let's just say I would recommend Mistborn to my in-laws, but I would not recommend Dungeon Crawler Carl to my in-laws. Actually,
Fair enough.
I say that they're the ones that actually recommended Mistborn to me initially.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah. So yeah, Mistborn's good. And if you didn't know, Brandon Sanderson has signed a deal with Apple to make Mistborn a movie on Apple TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's a good book series, and especially if people are wanting to get into Brandon Sanderson, Mistborn is a very good jumping off point, because those books are relatively small for him. His later stuff, like the Stormlight Archive, those books are huge.
Really?
Huge. So I think Mistborn's audiobook is less than 20 hours.
Yeah.
But
it was manageable. That's why I picked it, really. I was like, oh, hey, this will get me through, and then I can finish it. But yeah.
But the latest Stormlight Archive book on audiobook is like 58 hours. Yeah. No, they keep getting bigger.
So, well, he gets more successful. He has more time to write, I guess. Hey, works out well.
So he I don't know how he pumps out as much as he pumps out, but he pumps out so many books. Yeah.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, Mistborn is fun. And what I like about Brandon Sanderson's series is he always has his magic is well explained. Yes. He does a good job of letting you understand to a certain degree the limitations of his magic. And so you're not going to ever be like, oh, what? Huh? That came out of nowhere. Like, right. Not in a big way. What will trip you up is, oh, I didn't think about using it like that. Creative way. And so he especially loves writing characters that use use their abilities in a creative way to solve problems.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
So, yeah. So you've only done the first Mistborn then?
Only done the first one. Again, it's like time and whatever, and nothing against the Mistborn. It was just a good audiobook. I considered going ahead and moving on to the second one. So 11th Metal, I think, is the next one, and there's a whole series, I think, there.
Yeah. So there's 3 books in the original. There's the original trilogy, and then there
Okay,
is
three.
a
Okay.
yeah. Then there's a follow-up series that's hundreds of years later, where there's been a bit of an industrial revolution to a certain extent. Like there's trains and stuff and guns in the follow-up series. Like the main character in the follow-up series is it's got a bit of a Western theme. He's a lawman out in the boonies, and he uses some of his metal abilities to help him fight crime and bring people to justice.
Well, that's kind of fun.
So, yeah. The original Mistborn trilogy is good, but it's lacking in humor, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it sounds like it's very dry. I don't say very dry, but it sounds way more dry than
Yeah,
doesn't it?
it's a very good series. It is,
Yeah.
but it is not a humorous series. The follow-up series, though, there's a lot of humor.
Oh, okay.
And so like there's one character in it. It's kind of the main guy's sidekick, deputy, sort of, but he is a master of disguise, and he doesn't take anything seriously, and he's a bit of a kleptomaniac as well.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he's a fun character. Yeah.
He was just practicing in his first books. He was working his way up.
Well, and Mistborn is one of his early series.
I saw that. It was like 2000, early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s is spot on. Yeah. Mistborn is a fun ride.
Yeah.